Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, students. Welcome back to English course with me, Miss Noi. And right now we are in lesson 3, which is application letter. In this lesson, we will focus more on reading for gist and for detail or specific information. And I'd like to remind you again on the aims of the lesson. At the end of this lesson, you are expected to be able to identify the genetic structure, and then the social functions and language features of application letter, and then you will also be able to get the main idea of an application letter, and you also will be able to get the specific information of an application letter. Okay, let's move on to the main material. So what is application letter? Application letter is a letter that you write to a company when you are applying for a job, and it is usually sent with your resume or curriculum vitae or CV to provide additional information about your skills and experience. Okay, now we're talking about the generic structure of an application letter, and here I have an example of application letter, and as you can see, this letter begins with the address of the sender or the applicant. The applicant is the person who applied for a job, and in this letter we know that the sender or the applicant is Ted Danson. And at the top of the page there is the sender address, followed by date of the letter, and below the date there is name and address of a person that is writing to, so it can also be called inside address or name and address of recipient. And then below the name and address of recipient there is greeting or salutation. Then after that there are 3 paragraphs, consists of opening paragraph and then body of paragraph, and then the third paragraph is closing paragraph. And after that there is closing or complimentary close, followed by sender signature and full name and also job title. Okay, now let's talk about each part of application letter in detail. Let's start with sender contact information. Now if you want to send your letter through postmail, you can write your contact information at the top of the page. And if you want to use American English, so you have to write your contact information on the left side. Okay, but if you prefer to use British English, you have to write your contact information on the right side. Somehow, if you want to send your application letter through email, you can easily write your contact information below your signature. And remember, contact information consists of your full name, your address, and then could be email address, and also you can add your phone number. Okay, now if you want to write the date of the letter, now let's talk about you have to write the date first of the letter, and then followed by month and then the year. You want to use British English, so you have to write, or you may also write the date first and then followed by the month and then the year. It's okay, but it's not common 9 June 2015. The position is on the right, or you may also on the right side, right at the top on the right side. One line below the 9th of June 2015, but it's not common anymore. And the position is on the right, one line below the center address. And then the position is on the top left corner. Again, it's below the sender's address. Okay, so once again, if you want to use British English, you have to write it on the right side, one line below the sender address. And if you want to use American English, you have to write the date of the letter at the top left corner. Okay, now let's talk about the employer contact information or inside address or name and address of recipients. From the example, we know that Ted is writing a letter to Miss Pamela Brown. So Miss Pamela Brown is the name of the recipient, and she is a principal, so it's the job title of Miss Pamela Brown. And then Green Acres Elementary School is the name of the school where Miss Pamela Brown works. And then up below that there is address of the school. So but if you don't know the name of the person you are writing to, let's say you don't know Miss Pamela Brown, So you just skip the full name and the job title of the recipients. Yeah, just directly write the name of the department. For example, head of HRD or head of recruitment staff, or maybe in this example you may write the school principal, and then followed by the name of the company and then address of the company. Okay, after that there will be salutation or greeting. If you have a contact name, if you know the name of the person you are writing letter to, you can skip the salutation entirely. Or for the alternative, you may write dear hiring manager, yeah, or dear head of HRD, or to whom it may concern, or maybe dear sir or madam. And don't forget to follow the salutation with a colon or comma. In this example, Ted Denson know the name of the person he is writing a letter to, so he write dear Miss Brown and then followed by a colon. Okay, now we're going to talk about, after salutation there will be a body of letter, and in the first paragraph we call it an opening paragraph. Yeah, in this opening paragraph, Ted includes information on why he is writing a letter, and then he also mentioned the position he is applying for, and then he also mentioned where he found the job listing. Yeah, and if you can also include the name of a mutual contact if you have one, but if you don't have one, just skip it. Okay, so in this example, Ted say that he write a letter to be considered for the position of non-hour supervisor, and he found the job listing in the Herald. Okay. Alright, next, after the first paragraph, we will talk about the second paragraph, which is body of paragraph. And in the second paragraph, it's time for you to promote yourself. You have to tell the employer who you are, tell them what skills do you have, and then the experience that you have, and then mention everything good about you. Okay, it's time for you to promote yourself. Tell them that you are one of a great candidate. Okay, in the last paragraph, or in the third paragraph, or we can call closing paragraph, we know in this example Ted shows that he expects to be invited for an interview. Yeah, and he also include information on how he can be contacted for an appointment. He also concluded the letter by thanking the employer for considering him for the position. Okay, so remember, if you want to end the letter in the third paragraph, you have to conclude by thanking the employer, and then include information on how you can be contacted. Okay, in the last part is closing or complimentary clause. If you prefer to use British English, and if you know the name of the recipient, you may write yours sincerely as a closing. But if you don't know the name of the recipients, you may write yours faithfully. And if you prefer to use American English, and if you know the name of the recipients, you may write sincerely yours or just sincerely. And if you don't know the name of the recipients, you may write yours truly. Okay, now after we've done talking about the generic structure, we will talk about the language features of application letter. When you write an application letter, you have to use present tense whenever you describe your personality and skills. For example, I am good at supervising children. I am good at, it's a present simple. And another example, I have learned to help young people make good choices and solve conflicts. I have learned, here is a present perfect. So both of them are present tense. And whenever you want to describe experience, you have to use past tense. For example, I work for Alpha Centauri Daycare for 2 years. It means I no longer work there. And also you have to use formal language. Therefore, you have to write politely, effectively, and communicatively. Okay, so why are we writing a letter, an application letter? Of course, is to apply for a job. Yeah. Besides that, we want to build a positive image of applicant for the suitability of a job being applied with the qualifications someone possesses. Okay, thank you for your listening my explanation. Thank you for listening my explanation. And I hope you can have a clear understanding about today's lesson. And if you don't understand or if you have a question, you may write your questions in the question and answer section in this module. So once again, thank you everyone for listening. We will see you again next time. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.